Hi there, Christian Brim, and welcome to Core Focus, where we give you one breakthrough business idea for your small business in less than 5 minutes. My guest today is LoriEngel from www.uhruc.com. Lori, how are you?
I'm doing great, thanks.
For those of you who don't know Lori, she currently is the president and owner of Ultimate HR Ultimate Challenge. Started the company in 2008 after an acquisition resulted in the Dobson Communications being purchased by AT&T, and as a result, all corporate officer positions were eliminated. Having relocated from North Carolina to Oklahoma just 5 months prior to this news, Lori made the decision to stay in Oklahoma and start her own business. Lori has worked in various areas of human resources since 1983 with Fortune 500 companies in the area of aerospace and electronics, and with smaller companies in food service and telecommunications. In her career, she has held management positions in training and development and in general HR, as well as being the chief ethics officer for Goodrich. She spent 11 years being the top HR person either at a division level or a corporate level and has vast experience in mergers, acquisitions, divestitures, and both union avoidance and union negotiations. So, Lori, the subject today is human resources for small businesses, and the rules are simple. We give you 5 minutes for the interview, and when the countdown timer reaches zero and the buzzer goes off, the interview is cut whether you are in full flight or mid sentence. Lori, do you accept the challenge?
I accept this challenge.
Great. Your time starts now. So, first question, what do you do?
Well, in a nutshell, we have a couple different areas that we predominantly work in. One is we recognized a need for small businesses, typically under 50 employees and really under 20 employees, where they didn't need an HR person, but they really needed an HR presence, and they didn't know who to turn to other than attorneys. And
Mhm.
so we are filling that need for small businesses. And second, we do workplace investigations. Typically, it's going to be fraud, embezzlement, sexual harassment, retaliation. And either attorneys hire us or businesses hire us to conduct the investigation.
So, do you see things like fraud and embezzlement with small businesses?
We see it a lot with small businesses and even more so with nonprofits.
Okay. So, what is your track record dealing with these things?
Well, it's pretty exciting. I have over 500 investigations under my belt now, and I have had two that went to court and to a jury trial, and we won those. And I had one that went to arbitration,
Hmm.
and we won that.
Hmm.
And then I've had a couple of them go straight to the DA, and the DA has won the cases as well.
Great. So, who is your ideal client?
The ideal client is typically someone who's in trouble, an employer who's in trouble, and they call us to help out, or they are overwhelmed with projects and they call us to come and do short-term assignments. And there's businesses that are under 50 employees. And
So
like I
when
said, many of them under 20 employees.
so when you say they're in trouble, what does that mean?
Well, we usually get the call where they either have maybe an OSHA complaint, or they
Hmm.
have an Office of Federal Contract Compliance complaint, or an
Hmm.
EEO complaint, or a lawsuit pending, or they simply uncovered something and said, "We need you to investigate this."
And so, how expensive are those troubles?
We try to keep things to a minimum. I have a standard rate, and I work with the business owner and the attorney to maybe negotiate that rate depending on the situation. We give a 10% discount to nonprofits,
Mhm.
and also 10% of our time is pro bono to nonprofits.
Actually, I was wondering how much these trouble situations like OSHA and those things can cost the small business.
They can cost, I mean, anywhere from a few $1,000s to well over, three to $400,000.
That much.
Oh yes, especially when you're dealing with like sexual harassment as an example.
And so, small businesses get charged with sexual harassment.
Absolutely, it's alive and well in the workforce.
What about workers' comp?
Workers' comp is a situation that employers typically have a work comp carrier.
Mm-hmm.
And so they work with that carrier. Sometimes we get called to do the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
It's a situation where you don't want anybody injured. If it's a fraudulent work comp, then they might get us involved. But if it's, one that really is legit, then they typically won't get us involved.
So, my small business colleagues that I talk to, when they hear the word HR or human resources, they think that that is something that only applies to big business. So, in the 60 seconds you've got left here, what would your pitch be to them as to why it should be important to them as small businesses?
Sure. Human resources is important to all businesses because there's so much compliance these days. There's so many new rules and laws. There's new, I-9 forms or W-4 forms or, all kinds of compliance issues. And if they don't know about that, if they're unaware of that, it can get them in trouble for just not knowing.
Mm-hmm.
As they say, ignorance is not a plea for forgiveness from the law.
Yeah, I think about the 20 years that we've been doing this. The idea of being an employer in 20 years has become a lot more complicated.
It definitely has, and it's going to be even more complicated as we move forward and we look at the new laws that are coming down the pike.
All right, Lori, time's up. So, where can people go to get more information and resources?
Well, they certainly can go to our website at www.uhruc.com. They can also email me at Lori, Lori, at uhruc.com, or they can give me a call at 405-574-4300, which they can also send me a text message on that.
Great. Lori, appreciate your time. Have an awesome day.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Bye bye.